Let's take a look at Notability. It's an awesome note-taking app. So when I open up Notability, at first glance, you will see on the left, I can create subjects and dividers and pop notes into there. And as you can see at a glance, you can handwrite notes, type notes, bring in images, bring in files, annotate over them, record your audio, all kinds of cool things. Sometimes when I go to meetings, I take a picture of the agenda and write on it, and that way everything is saved digitally for me. This is great for developing lessons. In fact, I know many of our teachers use it already. So let's take a deeper dive into Notability. In the upper left corner, there's a gear, which are your settings. And if you go down to Auto Backup, I would highly suggest you use Google Drive as a backup, or I use iCloud and I sync it so that I have everything backed up. Otherwise, whatever you create could be lost if something happens to your device. You can buzz down and take a look at things like your themes. You can go to Document, where you can change what you want the default to look like. So for example, it comes up as a plain document. Maybe you want like a lighter color for your eyes. When you go to print these things or share these things, you can do it without the background, which is nice too. So then I can say save, and then by default that always comes up. Under typing, I can select my font and I can select the size and the colors by default. In handwriting, I would highly suggest that you turn on palm detection right here, because that way it realizes your palm is resting and it doesn't try to write. You have audio transcription that you can turn on. You can even lock your subjects. Gestures are something I admittedly don't use that often, but if you go here, it's got undo and redo taps, and you can turn those on or off. So now a closer look. You can create subjects and dividers by hitting the plus. You can move things around simply by a drag and a drop on the left-hand side. But let's get into a new note. So I'm going to tap on New. And what's nice is I can go into the templates, and there's a pretty rich gallery. So for example, if I wanted to use like Cornell notes, I could say apply. And then this is my template. I'm going to go back to blank. And notice the tools along the bottom. And I can move this toolbar lots of different places. First, I have my pen tool, and I can add colors to that. It will only hold so many. I want to say 8. So if I delete one of these, I can bring back another color. This is my pen thickness down here, and my pen style. Here's a pencil. Here's a highlighter. Here's my eraser tool. Here is add a text box. This is the lasso, which is powerful, and we'll get into that. You can add images. You can record audio. If I do this, then it lets me use my hand to scroll. More tools. There's a zoom tool, which I'm going to turn off. There's a mouse pointer tool. So if you are presenting, you can use the mouse pointer. There's this thing like called tape or whatever. It's just kind of interesting. I don't find it very useful, so I'm going to come up and undo that. And there's a ruler and record audio, and then settings. In the settings, I can decide what shows up in my toolbox. So if there's something I know I'm never going to use, I can delete it out of there. Moving on. Here's how it works. I'm going to come back to my pen tool, pick a color, and I can write. I can go into my images, bring in a picture. If I don't want it, I hit delete. Let's bring in a map. I can tap on it and resize it. I can pick a pen. And I can write right on here. Let's say I put something in the wrong spot. This is where the lasso is handy. I can freeform the lasso. It selects that item and then I can move it, which is kind of handy. I can include files. So for example, I can download a file and bring it into here. So what I did here was, this was a PDF, and I brought it in, and then it lets me notate right on top of it. And how do you do that? You grab your pen tool or your highlighter, and you can write on this. I'm going to hit undo so that doesn't save. So basically anything that you can get onto your device in files because you've downloaded it, in photos because you've downloaded it or saved it, you can bring it into Notability. What's nice too is if I come to the, oops, that's not what I wanted. Let me open a note. Here's an example of bringing in an image and adding text and adding an image and annotating all of the things. It can be very powerful for a lesson. When I'm done, I can share as a PDF, I can print, I can save it, lots of different options here. So Notability is a very powerful note-taking app. It is currently free for education, so check it out, and if you have any questions, let me know. The easiest way to bring a file into Notability. So I'm in Safari and I have a PDF. I'm going to use my Share button, which is my paper with the arrow out, and I find it best to save it to files. Once it's in files, I go back to Notability, open up a new document and go to import at the bottom. I'm going to my files, there's my document, and I can bring it in. Notice that when it's a PDF, you can't resize it, but when it's an image, you can resize it. So if I wanted this to be something I could resize and write on, I need to take a screenshot or save it to my photos, and then I can resize it and I get the handlers around it. So as you can see, Notability is a pretty versatile app for note-taking. You can add text, handwrite, add images, annotate, use templates, and even add files. As always, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out.